not attempt to adjust your dial. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertaining show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla at us. Holla at your boy. It's Big Vern in the building on a wet and wild, wacky Wednesday. Say that 3 times fast. If you got to take your pets out, make sure you get them out before the rain shows up. Then get back in where it's nice, dry, warm. Crazy show so far. We talked about Cam Newton. He violates the G code. He talks about his former Carolina brethren. Find out the response that they had to say in return. Then we talked about Kyrie Irving and the revival of his career, and he reminds us all why he's still top 5 point guard in the NBA. Undeniable. We pivoted from Dallas. We stayed in the Western Conference. We talked about LeBron James and the Lakers. Really not LeBron James. I don't even know what Rob Pelinka's doing at this point. They keep making these signings and hirings of people nobody knows, and now we just saying the quiet part out loud. We just need him to get in here and hurt people. So from the Western Conference, gosh, this is a heavy NBA segment. Okay, so from the Western Conference, we're going to go to the Eastern Conference and to the Great North, because Mr. Brandon Ingram, he just got broke off. Brandon Ingram got broke off by the Toronto Raptors. 3 years for $120 million. Cha-ching. But all that glitters ain't gold. We'll get into that when we come back from a quick 20 from a rap album we're promoting this month. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Dun, 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 dun. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what we do. 2025. New album out on the streets. Bodie James and Who the Hell is Carlo? Hidden in plain sight. In stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it's Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites are Hidden in Plain Sight, the feature track with Conway the Machine and Styles P, Big Wings, and Brick James. Bodie James and Who the Hell is Carlo? Hidden in Plain Sight. In stores now. Shout out to Bodie James doing his thing. I love it, bro. That Brick James track, y'all know how I feel about that. I cannot wait for new hip hop to break Friday. Friday is going to be a flood of albums, and it's one of my days off, so I'm going to enjoy that. So, not going to hold you. Before we took the break, on the other side of the content, we were talking about Brandon Ingram getting 3 years at $120 million. Toronto, they broke the bank for him, and this includes a player option in 2027 and 2028. That could allow Ingram to become an unrestricted free agent, and before he turns 30 years old. Now, 3 years was the maximum length of the extension. The Raptors, they acquired Ingram, who hasn't played since December the 7th. Keep that in mind. You're willing to break the bank on a guy who hasn't played in more than a month. We're hitting the All-Star break. This dude hasn't played since December the 7th. Season started October the 22nd. So from what you saw, there was no doubt in your mind that if you don't lock it up, this dude is going to get away. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't personally know how to feel about that. But again, I'm not running the Toronto Raptors. Now, they were paying a low acquisition cost for a talented player who could help the Raptors' poor half-court offense. Raptors general manager, Mr. Bobby Webster, said, "I think we're expecting a spark as far as a fresh start for him. He'd been in New Orleans the whole time, and I think there's been a string of bad luck due to injuries down there. So We are excited to see what he can do with us. I don't know if him being a pivotal part of the Pelicans played a part in his injuries. Because I know everybody now wants to talk about load management and those things like that, but some of these guys don't play enough basketball because you're starting to see more injuries. I know, at least in my era, I haven't seen as many injuries as I'm seeing right now. And I don't know what you attribute that to. However, do you side with the general manager, Mr. Bobby Webster, and saying, okay, he was injured and had a litany of injuries only because he was in New Orleans? Up here, he's got a fresh start and he's not going to be as injury prone. And to prove it, we're going to give him $120 million and a 3-year extension, but he hasn't played since December the 7th. I don't know if that's a sound move. I just don't. But I tell you what, let's take a quick 20 and we'll get a rap album in here. This is Big Vern. Drop the snap. Bam, 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 bam. It's your boy Big Vern. Y'all know how we do. Promoting a new rap album, The Mussolini, True Player in the Game, in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is True Game, Her and Her. That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. Feels Better, Fly With Me featuring Jimmy Waters, and many more. The Mussolini, True to the Game, in stores now. Yeah, shout out to Moose. I like Moose. Like I say, he probably getting ready to come out right now. As I'm talking to you, Mussolini just dropped. Nah, I'm just playing. Shout out to Moose. So, looking at the content before we took the rap break, we had Mr. Bobby Webster. He was talking about he felt like Brandon Ingram was injury prone in New Orleans and all of the bad luck. However, we're going to lock it down. Even though he hasn't played since December the 7th, we're going to give this guy 3 years at $120 million. He would become an unrestricted free agent before he's 30. I don't know if that's a bad deal or not. But before the ankle sprain, Ingram, he missed time with soreness in his calves earlier this season. He missed significant time in each of his seasons with the New Orleans Pelicans due to lower body injuries, including a bone contusion in his left knee last season and a sprained toe that cost him 29 games in 2022 and 2023. My man, not all of that is bad luck. Not all of that is bad luck. And so, if you know this is the history and the litany of injuries. $120 million seemed like a very serious commitment for someone who may miss more games with you than he did in New Orleans. The move means, particularly the Raptors, are committed to their projected staff and the starting five of Ingram, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jacob Pertelli through 2026 and 2027. Pertelli has a player option that the final season of his deal, depending on how the Raptors structure Ingram's deal, the team will owe about $177 million to 10 players next year. That's another thing. All of these guys have got big money. You got $177 million tied up into 5 people. You need the other 7 guys to make some sort of money, unless we're all just calling guys up from the G League and having G Leaguers out there. But to have $177 million committed to 5 guys, that's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread. And one of these guys might miss significant time. That's an awful big commitment. Not saying it's a wrong commitment, though. But I'm just curious to find out from Toronto fans how they feel about this. My goodness. Now, the Raptors also will be likely to add mid to high lottery picks. The luxury tag threshold for next season is projected at 187.9. No. If the salary, wait a minute. If the luxury tax is projected at 10 million more than what they're tied up into right now, they're going to overshoot that and owe money. That's why I said, wait a minute. Nah, if it's 189 million on the luxury tax, you all have 177 million tied up into 5 guys. That's not saying how much you're going to have to pay these lottery picks. That's not saying how much you're going to have to pay other free agents in free agency. You're going to overshoot that $189 million luxury tax, which historically has been an organizational priority. They haven't been contenders. So what they're saying in effect at the end of that article was that because of the salary cap issues, Toronto has always tried to stay under the cap. That's what has made them less competitive. However, when they have all of this talent now as a collective and they've got all of this money tied up into it, does that make them more competitive? I just don't know. If you are a Toronto Raptors fan, get in the comments. Let me know. Do you think that they overcommitted to Brandon Ingram? How do you feel about this? This is Big Vern.